Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Coronation Street's Channique Sterling Brown on Dee-Dees fight for justice, and if she regrets giving her baby away. Giving birth for the first time was a far from happy occasion for Coronation Street's Dee-Dee Bailey, as it turned into a traumatic ordeal ending in emergency surgery that left her unable to carry any more children. The storyline has drawn attention to racial injustice in maternity care, with the strong-willed solicitor so stung by her experience, she's on a crusade for accountability. Confronting hospital staff over negligence and unconscious bias may bring closure for Dee-Dee and highlight a wider issue, but it could also make it harder for the character to move on. Dee-Dee is very conflicted. She doesn't know if she's coming or going, reveals Channique Sterling Brown, speaking exclusively to Radiotimes.com about her alter ego's plight. She knows she wants some form of change, so this doesn't happen to anyone else. Confronting what happened is huge, but pursuing the negligence case is a way of avoiding the different trauma of having the baby adopted, which she has put in a box and is definitely not dealing with. She has spent the last year sacrificing so much for the people around her, and has ended up butchered and lonely. Trying to fix what happened to her in hospital means she doesn't have to think about the pain of giving baby Layla away. Dee-Dee's distressing childbirth last month saw her concerns of being in pain in the lead-up to her due date dismissed, only to later be diagnosed with severe preeclampsia and rushed in for an emergency delivery. After suffering a huge hemorrhage, surgeons had to perform a hysterectomy in order to save her life. Feeling mistakes were made that were avoidable and linked to her ethnicity, Dee-Dee launched an official complaint of gross negligence. In powerful scenes on Friday, 18 April, she finally confronted Zoe, the midwife on duty at the time, about the treatment she received. "I think there is a sense of closure for Dee-Dee after that," Sterling Brown reflects. "It doesn't necessarily make it right or that the story is over. I hope the scene makes it clear to the audience why Dee-Dee's race is relevant in all this." Zoe taking a beat over how she acted and having that understanding with Dee-Dee was really important to show. To have it affirmed she wasn't going crazy or was gaslit and left to get on with it, Dee-Dee needed that. Accepting what happened is one thing. To try and do it without a proper apology or acknowledgement of how it was avoidable is a really hard thing to ask of anyone. Dee-Dee hearing Zoe and understanding how it happened makes her realize it's not a malicious thing, it's a lack of training and guidance. The backdrop to Dee-Dee's nightmare was a typically stretched NHS maternity ward, with stressed staff run ragged doing their best amidst the challenges to time and resource faced on a daily basis. Sterling Brown candidly admits Corey were concerned the story would be misinterpreted as being anti-NHS, and is quick to explain why the attitudes her character encountered were portrayed the way they were. Obviously, producers didn't want the storyline to come across as bashing the NHS because it's so fundamental. But it's not about malicious racism, it's about systemic racism, unconscious bias. These are things that are deeply ingrained into institutions, and that is not an individual malicious problem, but it is a problem we can all take a part in solving. The statistics are sobering, as evidence in an inquiry into racial injustice in maternity care carried out by human rights charity Birthrights. Black women are 3 times more likely to die in childbirth than white women, and have an increased chance of suffering physical and psychological harm through pregnancy and birth. Birthrights findings also flagged consistent failure to identify medical conditions in hospitals due to skin color, racial stereotyping, and breaches of consent. Despite this, the actress concedes there have still been some negative reactions with regard to the message Corey is trying to communicate. No one is suggesting this only happens to Black women. However, there is a huge disparity, and hopefully by opening conversations about that we will see an improvement in maternal care for all women. Discussing things that affect more communities will work its way through the system, Hopefully, I encourage people to suspend themselves beyond their own reality and have the perspective and empathy for others. I've also had many women of all colors and creeds sharing their experiences, which has been amazing, and lots of healthcare workers and midwives are thanking us for highlighting something they are very aware of.